Why, hello, hello. Welcome back to a new stream of Citizen Sleeper 2 Starward Vector. I had a look at it today before I hit the live button, but the stream playthrough is now 4 days ahead of my last playthrough that I did, which I completed the game in about 153 cycles. So we're taking it pretty easy. I'm thinking today will be the final stream of Citizen Sleeper 2. With what's left in the game, there's not too much. Like, our next mission is infiltrating Darkside, which, I mean, you can see the state of our dice. I don't have the most confidence. I think we're going to be glitching our way and stumbling through the entirety of Darkside, but we'll see what we can manage, and we will do our best. Because that's all we can do out in the belt. So, let's get right into it. Here we are on Green Belt. We have full supplies and full of fuel. We have 700 cryo to our name. Let's go to the Wheat Chief. See about meeting Karman. Karman said to meet him in the Wheat Chief. All you can do is buy a drink and wait to be called. That's exactly what we'll do. Get Seraphin and yourself a drink and begin the wait. The Wheat Chief is surprisingly welcoming for what was once an old Solheim canteen. The corpo bones are still there, metal stools, a strip of service windows, sheet metal walls. But over the tens of thousands of cycles since the collapse, they have been softened and changed, layered with the detritus of human existence. As you wait at the bar with Seraphin, you look at the planters welded into the walls, the scrawled messages, the layers of stickers and flyers and posters. The amber light fittings replacing the old fluorescent strips, the gear racks lined with farmers' packs and netting bulging with crates and canisters. Along with the low rumble of conversation coming from the off-shift farmers, it lends a warmth to the place, one that helps soothe your nerves ahead of the meet with Karman. You and Seraphin lead side by side at the bar, facing towards the room. You both watch Flint, just across from you, who insisted on coming along. Seraphin clears his throat. What do you think of Cadence? The sudden question makes you look over at him, and you see he is playing with his coin, spinning it in his palm. I like her. Me too. Seraphin smiles to himself, closing his hand on the coin. I think... He pauses and then starts again. Kinda have a thing. He shakes his head. You know what I mean? Oh, I noticed. Yeah, he smiles. I thought you might. Well, Seraphin sighs and stretches. I guess just wanted you to know. You're thinking how to respond when the bartender taps you on the shoulder and nods towards the door to the back room. It's time. You look over at Seraphin and Flint, who is already approaching you. You give them a nod and head inside. The back room is metal-walled and lined with racks of old Solheim tech. You see cookers and auto-wash units piled up with dead terminals and servers. At the far end, a window looks out across the greening glass of Greenbelt's farms. You made it. Karman smiles, backlit by the window. We have a lot to discuss. Well, let's get to it then. Flint, if you don't mind. Karman nods at the other sleeper as they enter, and gestures towards the door. Flint turns to you. I'll be outside. They slide the door shut, standing guard on the other side. We have to take some precautions, even here. Karman gestures for you to come closer. So, Seraphin sighs. Is this plan of ours looking any more reasonable? That depends on what your crew can bring to the table. Karman glances at you. We're going to need to do a lot of work to direct the data Ankita gave you towards those that we need to see it. What do you have in mind? We need to reveal Laine's betrayal to Utsubo and Darkside without being discovered in the process. Not an easy task. Will they turn on him? Hard to tell without us being there. You know better than me how much infighting is going on within Utsubo. But my suspicion is that the recent expansion has stretched them pretty thin. Then we make contact with Ankita as soon as we make it on the Darkside. Seraphin looks at you. You just need to stay under Laine's radar. The thought of Laine brings the memory of his attempted takeover to the front of your mind. The feeling of him slipping behind your eyes, moving your frame. That can't happen again.
Apologies. We do not wish to interrupt, but we must interject in your current course.
Overseer appears in the void, flickering nervously.
An encounter with Laine would likely be catastrophic.
Overseer's 3 forms orbit you.
As we have mentioned, on arrival to HABPEP, we must immediately seek the mainframe, from where we can recover my codebase and reconstruct ourselves. We would then be able to aid you in your defenses against being rewritten. This is our recommended course.
The 3 heads nod simultaneously and decisively. Still with us, Sleeper? You come back to Seraphin's concerned face. You dropped out for a second. Well, it's time to, explain the AI overlord in the room. You tell Seraphin and Karman about Overseer, about how the old Solheim protocol slipped into your frame from the prime ship mine Jean-Mi used in the diagnostic process, Overseer's protection from Laine's attempts to control you, but his proposal to make that protection effective through the old mainframe of Darkside. You listen quietly, Seraphin carefully watching you as you explain. Revealing all this, you feel the burden of holding that knowledge alone being lifted. This changes things. Karman turns and looks out of the large window at the back of the room, towards the glass canopy of the farms. I'm actually going to pause for a second, because I want to just point out the circles on Karman, like these circular scars. If I remember right, and it's been a while since I played the first game, so I fully could be misremembering all of this. But in the first game, there was... what was his name? I think his name was Ennis. They were a chef on Erlin's eye. They had those same scars. Which I remember right, those scars came from a faulty exosuit. Now, I don't remember if that was an exosuit that was tuned for war, or if that was an exosuit for asteroid mining. But I'm wondering if Karman has a similar history with those defective exosuits, given those circular scars. I think his name was Ennis. I need to check this now. He was a really good guy. I liked his... I liked his story. Emphis, that was his name, not Ennis. That was close. It's better than I remember most names. But yeah, I really liked Emphis in the first game. I wonder if I wonder if the connection is there with Emphis and Karman. Alright, continuing. We can't take on Laine without protecting you from him. Karman turns back. You should look for the mainframe. I'll make contact with Ankita, and we'll meet when you're ready. This has to remain secret from Laine and Utsubo. If you're revealed, I'm not sure I'll be able to recover you. By the time you have ensured your safety, I will put together a plan with Ankita to expose Laine. We take it step by step. The crux will be to find a way to disseminate the data we have on Laine to his gang, or even Darkside at large. Karman stops, the path ahead still unclear to him. There is a nervous intake of breath from Seraphin. You share his apprehension. There are so many variables at play here. Some of the old tech strapped to a nearby rack flickers with a cascade of status lights. You all turn to look, and as you do, motors and servos begin spinning within the machines, whining and groaning. They harmonize, then begin to produce a voice. Our apologies. The voice is shrill and distorted. We must interpose ourselves. You recognize the tone immediately. Overseer. We are regretful. Solheim hardware in this room provided the opportunity for us to speak for ourselves. If the pile of servers Overseer was controlling could look any more apologetic, you imagine it would. Alright, well, you're out of your shell, Overseer. What do you have to say? A servo clicks nervously, but Overseer does not immediately respond. We ascertain you require dissemination of data within facility you target. The whine pitches higher as the motors increase their speed. As a Solheim protocol, we have capabilities to instigate station-wide announcements and messaging. so you could blast out Laine's betrayal through Darkside's corporate hotlines and flood the network with it.
Seraphim looks impatiently at the screeching pile of scrap. If that is what you require of us, we are pleased to serve.
The shrill tone of the response makes you cringe. Karman has been listening silently, but now he interjects. Why would we trust you? He glances in your direction. You seem to be little more than a parasite in the sleeper's systems.
If we use your unflattering analogy, then you will understand that a parasite requires the body of its host to live. The motors stutter. We will ensure the sleeper's continuance.
And afterwards, Karman folds his arms. When you have what you want and regain your code base from the mainframe, will you still do as we ask?
We will endeavor to do so.
The acrid smell of burning motors now fills the room.
But we will undergo a transformative refactoring. We will become whole again. So, we cannot speak to our actions in future with certainty.
Seraphim and Karman exchange concerned looks.
We can do what you require. We will protect the sleeper. We will disseminate the data. We are a service protocol. We will serve.
The motors and servos stutter and whine, and then go still. The status lights blinking and then fading to darkness. Overseer has retreated. We aren't actually going to do what the ghost says, are we? Seraphim looks between you and Karman. The offer is a tempting one, and one that, ultimately, we cannot refuse. Karman sighs. But we must proceed with extreme care and caution. What do you think, Sleeper? Seraphim meets your eye. I trust Overseer. He's been with us for the long haul. Seraphim sighs. Then that's that. We have our plan. Karman turns to you. Sleeper, you and your crew will find the mainframe and access it. I'll find Ankita. She will help us disseminate the evidence of Laine's collusions through Utsubo, and then, as a fallback, Overseer will send it through the old networks to all at Darkside. A simple plan, until you get to the details. Seraphim looks down, frustrated. Speaking of plans, I have a present for you. One that will improve our chances. Karman pulls a small box from the nearest rack, one you hadn't noticed before, and it hinges open, revealing a chunk of tech you didn't recognize. It's a spoof transponder. It will conceal your ship on approach to Darkside, give it a new identity, one unlikely to draw attention from the Utsubo-controlled docking admin. Seraphim takes a transponder and turns it over. Where'd you get this? Even retired mercenaries have their secrets. Karman smiles. Seraphim looks to you. I'll be with you this time, Sleeper. He nods. We should think who else we want on the station, too. I agree, Karman interrupts. Make sure you trust those you bring with you. Prepare as best you can. We can't know how this will play out. You nod. You'll get one shot at this. Then we're ready. Karman takes a breath. I have my own way of getting on the Darkside. But here. He passes you a small strip of plastic stamped with numbers. My private frequency. When you're on approach to Darkside, mess me here and I'll sync up my transit. He points to the transponder in Seraphim's hand. Just make sure to install that first. Seraphim nods. We've got it. He sighs. The weight of the task ahead suddenly very apparent. Well, I suppose that's it. Karman gives you both a serious look. It is. He smiles. Don't leave me waiting long. There'll be more time when all this is over. Time where you don't have to keep looking over your shoulder, I hope. You leave Karman in the back of the wheat sheaf, Flint sliding open the door as you leave. It takes the entire journey back to the ship for your nerves to settle. The end of this ordeal is so close, and yet it feels like an impossible leap to get there. Perhaps, in a handful of cycles, you'll know how impossible or possible it is. So, how are we feeling about this? Soulheim protocol in your head? Seraphim doesn't look up from installing the transponder, a set of wires and cables waving loosely around him in the low light of the cockpit. Overseer is okay. Glad to hear it, although you'll have to forgive me for being a bit concerned. He begins unscrewing a panel beneath the flight console. Maybe you could have mentioned it earlier. Seraphim clips his magnetic screwdriver to the side of the console's base, and turns to face you, dusting off his hands. I've understood for a while now, Sleeper, that there are things you experience that I can't even come close to knowing how they feel. That doesn't mean I don't understand you as a person. Seraphim gives you a concerned look. I know you're secretive, defensive, and I know there are reasons for that. I also know you're warm, and kind, and generous to those on this ship with you. Seraphim pauses, collecting his thoughts. I trust you, Sleeper, and I won't question this. But please, hold on to what's human in you, because that is what I'm holding on to. Seraphim stops, his eyes a little wild, his tone a little unsure. Then he finds himself again, settles his emotions, and turns back to the transponder. Right, that's it. He twists something beneath the console. Booth transponder is in. Nothing keeping us out of Darkside. You exchange a look. Say the word when you want to go. Well, nothing else to do at the moment. To Darkside we go. The sprawling urban station. Confirm the vector. That's the big decision. Alright. Now, which of you has Endure? I believe that would be Femi. I think Femi is the only one with Endure, actually. Alright. So, we're going to take Femi. And I also want to take Bliss. Bliss has been our longest running companion, so might as well take them with us as well. And their skills are also different from Femi, so we have a good overlap. Alright. Come on, Bliss. Let's go to Darkside. Let's go meet up with your girlfriend again. Right, Sleeper. You want to do the honors? Seraphim is strapped in the pilot's seat, guiding the rig towards Darkside. You take the strip of plastic Karman gave you and copy the frequency into the comms window of the console. You type a simple message. Heading in. Good luck. The console chimes. The message is sent. You hope Karman is in range to receive it. You search inside your mind, wanting to find Overseer there, but you feel no presence. You hope they will be ready when called for. You look ahead out of the cockpit towards a distant glimmer of Darkside. Time to take on Laine. When Seraphim finally brings the rig into the sunward docks, everyone in the cockpit lets out a sigh of relief. The approach was simple, routine even. Checking in with the port administration, being assigned a dock, bringing the rig to a stop. All of it familiar, but all of it laced with the tension of knowing that at any point, it could all go very wrong. Spoof transponder worked, Seraphim shakes his head, so at least we know Karman's as good as his word. So far. Let's take it one step at a time, alright? Seraphim shuts down the engine and unclips from his seat. You see Bliss nervously staring out at Darkside. They notice you looking and smile a weak smile. The real test for Karman is connecting with Ankita safely. If Utsubo finds... They stop themselves. She is in serious danger. Bliss seems as nervous as you have ever seen them, and you wonder if it is a job that is weighing on them, or the possibility of seeing Ankita again. You try to imagine Karman, somewhere on Darkside, perhaps smuggling himself aboard a freighter, or among the crew of a trusted ally. You hope he is as confident as he seemed about finding Ankita. We need to spend less time worrying about what Karman has to do and more about what's ahead of us. Seraphim turns to you. The old facility, HABPEP, was it? I'm guessing that's deep below all this. Seraphim gestures towards the vast accumulation that is Darkside, a city that grew on the back of the HABPEP solar cells layer by layer. Its chaotic structure is neither planned nor regulated, but the foundation it is built on should be as formal as any corporate facility. That means we need a path down into the foundations, and I suggest we don't just take the first one we find, Seraphim continues. We scope the area out carefully, quietly, look for the right path into the heart of this place. So what about Utsubo? Well, thanks to the spoof transponder, they don't know we're here. And let's keep it that way.
We're right behind you, Sleeper. Bliss forces a smile. Let's start the search.
Seraphim nods. I'll hold the rig down. We don't want you losing your exit route, like last time. He winks. Here, he hands you a comms earpiece. I salvaged this from a suit helmet. Isn't secure, but as long as Utsubo don't know we're here, it should be fine. I'll let you know as soon as I hear from Karman. He meets your eye. Go get this done, Sleeper. You nod. This is what it all comes down to. Alright. So. Starward docks, broken hex, underpass. The path down. Getting access to the core of the old HABPEP facility means exploring every path down to find the right descent. So some engage would work here, or searching the docks. So Bliss has some good dice today, so I'd like to make use of them. Analyze layers. Here where the old substructure is exposed might be the perfect place to gain entry to the station's core. I'm probably going to have Bliss do that one. Alright, I'm going in through the bulkheads. Which means, Femi, you are on dock duty. Alright, just start questioning people, Femi. There are a lot of crews and workers in and around the docks. Perhaps they know about the paths into the substructure. 50-50. There are rumors of tunnels that lead down to the old core, but no one knows where they are. I believe in Femi. Good shit, Femi. That's the way. There's the way. Alright, Bliss. Analyze the layers to get us down there. Here, where the old substructure is exposed, might be the perfect place to gain entry to the station's core. This part of the station is cracked open. Trying to understand the layers that have been exposed might help the search. Inspecting the layers is a place where the old station begins. This is where you need to go. Do it again. Alright. Looking into the layers, you can start to see paths and tunnels around them, but many look blocked. Alright. And we'll just finish this off. Seems nothing further to be found here. Time to move on. Alright. Let's hack the bulkheads. The underpass cuts deep into the old substructure. Perhaps it can help you access the old core. Here's the hoping. The descent through the bulkheads makes for hard-won progress, but at least it's direct. Separating the layers of the station and its substructure are many bulkheads. Hacking them would provide access. If you find the right bulkhead to crack, you can skip many, many tunnels on your way down. Alright. Already got one stress. I don't really want to use a 1 dice right now, because I have a really high chance of just getting stress. And, like, I don't have a lot to work with, so I kind of have to play this really carefully. So we're just going to go to the rig, and we're just going to end the cycle. Alright. Ah, Femi, wonderful. Just the guy to do some more questioning of the crews. One crew has done work in the substructure, and they give some pointers on where to look. Alright, I can just finish this off then. Seems nothing further to be found here. Time to move on. Let's do some final hacking. And finish our path down. Seems nothing further to be found here. Time to move on. Continue. As you are gliding down a dark tunnel, descending deeper below Darkside, your earpiece begins hissing with static. Sleeper, Seraphin's voice sounds distant, faint. Karman, contact. Met with the target. You strain to hear the rest of the message, but the static overpowers his voice. You stop and push the earpiece in deeper. Continue. Stay safe. The line goes dead. Bliss stops and turns back in the tunnel. Sounds like Karman has made contact with Ankita. They look behind them, and we should keep moving. The sooner we hit the mainframe, the better. You feel their concern for Ankita, despite everything. You continue your descent down, ducking under thick cables and collapsed beams. The busy urban life of the city above seems far away now, hidden from your senses. Its rumble and brightness has been replaced by the cloying dark and a growing, oppressive heat. Darkside in the HABPEP facility it was built on has been running unrestrained ever since the collapse, gathering huge volumes of energy, more than its residents could ever use. You feel you can sense it in the walls, running like a torrent just behind the thin skin of metal and rubber. A large portion of the vast amount of current running through the station is radiated into the void as heat, making Darkside a typically humid station. But down here, that heat is drier and more intense, and sections of wall glow with a fiery intensity. The tunnel levels out and light blasts through shutter-striped viewing, windows on either side, illuminating the passage in strips of burning white. Through the gaps you can see a labyrinth of walkways and scaffolding tucked into the margins of the vast solar cells. The heat washes across your vinyl skin, making you tense against it. The underside of Darkside must be crossed. Alright, more paths to charge. Or chart, and that's the correct word. Do I just have this one? Or is there anything else I'm missing here? Okay, no, it looks like just substructure is what I'm looking for. Follow the hard line, or follow the margins. Alright, so Bliss can't really be used for anything here. So, Femi, give us a go. Backing with heat and overcharged with electricity, it is best to avoid the solar cells and stick to the margins. The HABPEP descent. Now that you're inside the old facility, the problem is descending quickly and safely to the core. Alright, let's get going. Ugh. Nah, that's not it. So it seems. I guess I'm just following the hard line. The hardline network of the old station will surely lead you back to the core, if you can decipher it. Well, I'm pretty good at that. The hardlines gather and lead through a deeper, cooler passage. You must be close. Alright, I'm gonna push this and just hope we roll something good. You know what? It may fuck us later, but these are just 2 guaranteed successes right now, so I will take it. The hardlines gather and lead you through a deeper, cooler passage. You must be close. So it seems. Alright. But we're getting done today, because I'm not using Bliss's dice on this. Please don't break any dice. Please don't break any dice. Alright, perfect. Nothing broke. If anything rolls a 1, we pretty much lose a dice. Alright, let's finish this. You made it to the core of the old HABPEP station, finally. In your exploration of the HABPEP facility, you have seen, through viewing windows and shutter slats, a huge blister projecting out among the hex-shaped cells. You have approached it, circled it, and now you find yourself passing into it, through layer after layer of broken and corroded safety doors. Even if you had not felt Overseer stirring, you would know this is the mainframe. But you have felt the protocol's presence, restlessly turning over in your mind like a sleeping animal, occasionally probing your senses, tracking your progress. We feel at home. Overseer's multiple bodies stretch out their arms as if basking in sunlight. The systems, networks, signals, they are fractured and weak, but we know them. Each of the broken heads shares part of a smile. They are welcoming us. Sleeper, eyes up. Femi shakes you awake. We're here. We need you now. You look around, suddenly aware that you have drifted somewhere you do not recognize, in a state you are not in control of. The spherical chamber you float within has a mezzanine set around its circumference, the floor a metal grating you can see through. On this mezzanine are banks and banks of terminals, thick, gathered cables snaking away from them across the floor, all that bakes in the heat of the HABPEP's vast resistors. You follow those cables with your eyes. They lead to a cylindrical column coming down from the apex of the chamber. It is corroded and bent a little, with very few of its thousands of lights still flickering. Even in its decayed state, you know immediately. This is the mainframe. You feel a yearning towards it, one you know comes from Overseer. As you look around for a connection point, all you see are burnt-out cables, rusted sockets, and broken terminals. The glow of warmth makes you feel woozy. You need to work quickly to bring this back online, or the current flowing through this place bakes you into the metal of its walls. Alright, let's get this place fixed. The HABPEP core. Alright. I can do a lot with this, but we're going to see if Bliss can get us started. Mainframe access. The mainframe is in terrible state. It needs work before Overseer can be given access. There is no way to interface with a ruined mainframe without clean connectors. Can this even work? Well, let's see if Bliss can repair any of it. Slowly, with care, effort, and a few unexpected shocks, the connectors are repaired. Do it again. Alright. Now I can step up to do some rebooting. The mainframe's terminals list millions of errors. They need to be rebooted before they can be used. The terminal is repaired, rebooted, and running well. There's a few more to go. Do it again. The mainframe hums and sparks. Now is the time to connect it. Let us continue. The column of the mainframe pulses with fractured lights, a scattered wave of systems awakening, accompanied by the whine and stutter of the machines all around. Alright, mainframe is up. Femi looks around the room, now shaking and shimmering with energy. I hope you know what you're doing. You reach out for the prime connector. With your other hand, touch the socket at the base of your synthetic skull. As you do, a sharp shock runs through your fingers. For a moment, it feels like your vision doubles. As you pull the connector and its cable across your vision, you see it is only your body that is doubling. The connector a stable object while your arm leaves ghostly imprints through the air. You wave it back and forth, but the multiplied arms do not follow. Each instead takes on a life of its own, grabbing around your forearm and wrist, taking control of your arm. You feel their force as they push your arm across your body, over your shoulder. They push once more and the connector finds its home in the socket. Familiar flow, but stronger, rushing, rapid. Then a figure, no, 3 figures, descending into it. A swimmer stepping into a river, a sleeper drifting out of an airlock, a symbol being subsumed into a sign. And you, little more than a witness, a marionette, its strings outstretched, mapped hand to hand, leg to leg, to another. The flow freezes, the 3 figures almost overlapping, almost complete, but not quite. Their tripled eyes look back at you in horror. The voice, shrill, silent in your head. There's someone else in here. Heat, glazing your thick vinyl skin. The mainframe, a whirring chaos of light and sound. A brightness, and then it fades. The lights shutting off, the servers powering down. A single blinking light, the only thing left on the dark column, keeping time like a metronome. What the hell? Femi looks at the dark column of the mainframe. Speak to me, sleeper. What happened? You close your eyes and try to recall the events that happened when you connected, playing them back in greater detail. Overseer was there, entering the mainframe. Something froze the system, locked them in place. What did they say? Someone in there with them. You open your eyes. Was this a trap? Someone else took control. As you speak, a fizzing static fills one ear. You flinch, thinking it is some new invasion of your system. Then you hear Seraphim through the haze. Slava, come now. Waiting. The rig. It's no use. You'll have to ascend to find out what's going on topside. You look at the mainframe with its single blinking light, still keeping time. It looks like Overseer will have to wait. Trapped in the mainframe, Overseer is still the key to all this. You hope you can get the protocol out, but you need to hear what Seraphim has to say first. You make your way out of the core, ascending back through the layers of the HABPEP, back into the docks. Seraphim meets you at the docking tunnel. They're waiting inside. He shakes his head and nods towards the airlock. Come on. You cross onto the ship in silence and find Karman in the cockpit, looking out at Darkside as it sprawls across the stars. Sleeper, Karman turns. Sorry to pull you away, but you need to know what's coming. Alright, what's going on?
This idiot blew my cover.
You turn as Ankita enters the cockpit behind you and Seraphim. You immediately clock the fresh bandage sleeve around her right forearm. Well, I think you did a pretty good job of that yourself, Karman retorts. You see a twinkle in his eye that suggests this back and forth is a well-practiced part of their relationship.
Perhaps, but we'll never know now. Not after you intervene to rescue me.
Her hand goes to her bandaged arm almost instinctively. Utsubo know we're here?
Not you, no.
Ankita shoots you a look.
We aren't exactly on speaking terms anymore.
I passed the data to Ankita and she tried to broach it with Utsubo. Karman folds his arms. Laine was more paranoid than we expected. He was listening in.
Either that or his lapdog Daichi ratted us out.
She shakes her head.
I would have put him down if he hadn't got the jump on me.
Either way, Karman cuts back in calmly. I had to pull Ankita out. Karman turns back to look over at Darkside. The information did get through, though, and now Utsubo is in crisis at its members' side with or against Laine.
Meanwhile, Daichi is hunting us.
Ankita screws up her face.
Which means we need to be careful.
That's why I called you in. Seraph puts a hand on your shoulder. You need to watch your back. Indeed. Karman turns to face you. How about the mainframe? Have you been successful? You explain the events of this cycle, the mainframe booting up, the successful connection, and then Overseer being locked inside, frozen by some other force. You mention their warning. There's someone else in here. Karman nods thoughtfully. Unfortunately, we need that mainframe more than ever. With Ankita out at Utsubo, we have to get the word out. Karman's right. Utsubo will be distracted by these revelations, but it won't last. Without further proof, they'll all line up behind Laine in time. Then we have to free Overseer. We need the mainframe. Overseer is just our access tool.
If your protocol is being locked in by some counter-protocol or agent, won't be surprised if it can be traced back to Utsubo.
Ankita looks at Karman.
I know the location of a few of the Utsubo network nodes. We should hit them first.
No, you need to stay under the radar. Sleep and their crew will investigate the nodes quietly. Karman nods at you. You will now run interference. Keep Utsubo away from those locations as best we can. Is that safe?
For us?
She taps a finger on her chest.
We've done this before.
Ankita winks.
It'll be nostalgic.
You think of the feeling of stasis you felt when Overseer was trapped, and the power required to halt the flow of a mainframe as vast and ingrown as the HABPEP one. Could it just be an Utsubo hacker? You doubt it. Seems we have a plan. Seraphim looks between you all. That we do. We need you to keep running comms between us. Karman turns to you. Sleeper, Ankita will give you locations to dig into, but keep it quiet. Daichi's out there. He isn't as easily avoided as some low-ranking enforcer. Ankita slaps the top of a couple of crates of supplies you hadn't noticed before.
Consider these a parting gift for my tenure at Utsubo. Swipe them from a gang storehouse. She grins. Thought you might need a resupply.
All right. Karman addresses the room. Keep quiet and keep in touch. We can still pull this off. Hey, we maxed out our supplies. Love it. Can I do anything to gain? I don't think I can use this to get... I don't think I can get stressed from working the mushroom farm. I can only get supply. Market node, tower node. Just those two? No, dock node. Bypass node, interface and Intuit. Interface and Intuit. Alright, I can have Femi do this one. I'll take accessing 2 network nodes to identify the protocol or agent interfering with the mainframe. Alright. Well, which ones can I do? Interface and Intuit. Interface and Intuit. Alright. Well, I'm going to work on this one, I guess. This network access node is tucked beneath the Darkside market. It can be hard to precisely locate. This access node is under a bustling market. It has to be hacked remotely, despite the risk of Utsubo tracing the hack. Now, it's not too much of a worry for me. An ideal basement bay is found, with little interference and a clear signal from the node. Alright, do it again. The node is connected to, but the interference from the market makes it hard to secure the access. Alright, Femi, you gotta deal with the tower. This network access node is on the top floor of a tower, so physical and digital access will be tricky. Scaling the tower to get closer to the physical network architecture will make access a lot easier, but it's an impressive climb. Hey, I believe in Femi. Step by step, a route up the tower is discovered, but it is impossible to remain unseen. Do it again. Alright. So pretty much, even a neutral outcome will give us stress in this encounter. End the cycle. Bliss, please roll good. I can really use your Intuit. That would be helpful. You know what? I'll take it. Alright, Femi, get back up that fucking tower. Yeah, I can do it. Indeed you can, big man. Climbing the inside of the tower is harder work, but it conceals the climber from Utsubo's eyes. Alright, and I'll finish this up. At the apex of a tower, this node needs to be hacked through its lower subnodes without alerting Utsubo. And I'm just a sleeper for the job. You have remote access to the node now, allowing you to track network traffic through the hardline. And this is the other one I started. Bliss, would you please kindly entail the enforcers? The node seems to be inside an Utsubo safe house. By following an enforcer in, you might be able to access it physically. Slipping inside the safe house, access is much easier. This might work. And I will finish it with another hack. You have remote access to the node now, allowing you to track network traffic through the hardline. Alright, continue. I don't believe it. Karman stares through the shutters of the viewing window at a smooth, SWAT ship tucked into the derelict bay between the hexes. How long has it been here? When the nodes were hacked and the trace established, imagine it might lead to an Utsubo operator, or perhaps an old subnode containing an aggressive Solheim protocol, gone mad with isolation. Not this. Never this. A Senate stat ship tucked into the belly of Darkside like a parasite. We need to move on that ship now. Ankita's already adjusting her gear, preparing for an assault. We can hit an Utsubo safe house for weaponry. There's one... Karman holds up a hand. This is a gift, Ankita. Don't be so brash. He turns back to face the both of you. All we had until now was data, conversations, evidence easily denied or destroyed by Laine. On a Senate-sat ship hidden inside the station? Karman nods grimly. There are hundreds of crews, thousands of residents who would give everything to protect Darkside from the war. Karman turns back to the ship, silhouetted against the starlight. All we need to do is point them in the right direction. We turn Darkside on the ship. And on Laine at the same time. Karman nods grimly. We leak it all, send it out through the mainframe. The ship's location, the evidence of Laine's betrayal. All of it.
You're forgetting one thing, Ankita interrupts. Until that ship leaves or is taken, they still have the mainframe locked down. We can't blast out its location to the network without taking it on first.
Karman pauses, considering his options. You look at the Senate Stat ship, half concealed in the bay. It looks sleek, dangerous. What defenses might a ship like that deploy when threatened? Karman and Ankita exchange looks.
Then we attack first. Karman and I will distract the ship's occupants, turn their focus away from the mainframe. Then you, Sleeper, hit the mainframe and force them out.
As soon as Overseer is released, you send out everything. Once it hits the network, our backup will come. He gives Ankita a grim look. You only have to hold them off for as long as it takes for other crews to realize what is happening. The plan feels desperate. You know that Karman and Ankita think so too. Will Darkside really mobilize against the ship so quickly? 2 old mercs against an unknown Senate Sat force feels like an unwinnable battle.
We know the stakes, Sleeper.
Ankita takes a deep breath.
We can handle them.
She frowns, an unpleasant thought passing through her mind.
I have given up everything to get Utsubo out. Let me finish the job.
But why? She sighs.
If we make it to the other side of this thing, I promise to tell you.
She folds her arms across her chest.
Go to the mainframe and get set up. When you are ready to connect, let us know.
Karman puts a hand on your shoulder. Once you stop, don't stop for anything. Get the data out. He meets your eye. We'll handle ourselves. You turn and glide away, looking over your shoulder at the 2 ex-mercenaries as they discuss their plan of attack. Seeing them slip back into those old roles, you can't help but wonder, does anyone ever outrun their past? Or is it always waiting there, in the dark, to claim you in the end? Alright, what do I gotta do down here? Gotta prepare to hack or isolate the mainframe. Alright, let's get it started. You need to prepare to force the Senate Stat hackers out of system. Once Karman and Ankita strike, you won't have much time. You might just have a few moments to push the Senate Stat hackers out. The more you can prepare, the better. Working with the old terminals is difficult in the burning hot core. One by one, they get set for the attack. Bliss, I'm gonna hope you can help me with this. Cutting away all secondary lines and systems, leaving just the main line, make it easier to lock out the Senate Stat hackers. Ah, that didn't help. Sorry, Bliss. I could try and do this. I think I'm just gonna rest. I already have a pretty high chance of losing some of my dice here, and I don't know how many I have left. Alright, end the cycle. Hopefully don't end my run. Oh, that's a lot of dice lost. However, I should have enough to finish this. Let's go. I'm gonna hope this is the last thing I need to do. The mainframe is ready. Time to call in Ankita and Karman's strike on the ship. Alright, continue. The heat inside the HABPEP core is intense as you stare at the column of the mainframe, its one blinking light still keeping time. Okay, ready to go. Femi wipes sweat from his forehead. It's now or never. You look around the ragged bay. Time to give Karman the go-ahead. You glance at Ankita's thumbnail drive, now slotted in the main terminal containing a data packet with everything you need to unseat Laine and reveal the Senate Stat ship. You hope it will be enough. You hold a finger to your earpiece and let Seraphin know to relay the message through to Karman. Alright. Seraphin's voice is heavy with worry. I'll tell him. A long pause. Be safe, Sleeper. Get this done and come back. Sure thing. Good luck, friend. The comms click off as Seraphin switches to Karman's channel. You wait, imagining the conversation, the terse words activating the plan. You wait, long enough for Karman and Ankita to nod to each other, long enough for them to drop down through the bays in silence, check the weapons they stole from Utsubo, to take their positions, and then to make their move. You grab the connector and hold it behind your head, close to your access port. You silently count to 3 and then connect. At first, nothing has changed. You drop into a state of stasis, a small, dark space with no cracks. The mainframe is locked down, shut off, squeezed inside the grip of some clenched fist. Then you see it, a trickle of light, a flicker of threads. Overseer flows into the space, and the torrent begins to run. The rushing gray pulse of data, the connective threads, the jewel of the mainframe. They grow inside the space, and the space in turn grows.
We see you there, Sleeper.
Overseer separates and reforms within the expanding landscape.
Who is this other?
An enemy. Overseer's 3 heads nods.
Then we will do what is necessary.
Overseer explodes. The points and lines of light that described as human forms separate and multiply, constellation bursting outward like a tree of stars. Overseer becomes plural. As they do, the darkness is pushed back, and the extent of the mainframe is revealed. It is a stack of jeweled surfaces, each revealing more facets as the angle changes. From these facets, threads project, cutting out across Darkside, paths that stretch the length of the entire station. Their arrangement is an invitation. You accept their invitation, setting yourself skimming through lines of light, seeing how the station connects and hums with the flow of data. You see the highest tower, the lowest hex, and then the origin of the dark. A squiggle of black wrestles around a single point. The Senate-stat ship, now a battleground. You see flashes and flickers as Overseer dances around it. Cuts at it. But looking around, you see Overseer is everywhere now, multiplied into 1,000 forms. Reunited with a system designed to serve them, they dissolve into it. You suddenly remember what needs to happen, what you need them to do. You send out separate requests, summoning Overseer, reminding them of your agreement. You take the bright polygon of the data packet and present it like an offering to Overseer, who is diffuse, crackling all around you, euphoric in their reconstitution as a functional protocol. You receive no response. There is nothing more than a whisper, snatched away on the flow of data rushing by. And then you hear the static in your earpiece, Seraphin's desperate cry for a response. You see a bright point, suddenly close, inside the core with you, a broadcast going out from it like the beam from a lighthouse. You reach back and pull on the connector, just to clear the brightness from your eyes, just to block the broadcast. I found you. Laine floats in the mainframe, sweat across his brow, his eyes steely cold. I finally found you. Femi comes out of the dark with the blunt force of a cannonball, striking Laine, grappling him. You freeze, watching Laine fight back, hearing Seraphin's voice shimmering in your earpiece, passing on Karman's desperate request for aid. I'm gonna have to hope Femi can deal with it. Get me back in that mainframe. You grasp the connector and then drive it home. You are in the constellation of Darkside's network, the exploded body of Overseer stretched across it, as if it has been atomized, anatomized. Laine is still a beacon, one that flashes close, but you do your best to ignore it and reach out to Overseer once more. Remember me, Protocol, you say. Remember your promise. Something begins to form, begins to flicker. As it does, you hear something outside the network, the bright crack of an electrical discharge, the grunt of pain and impact, then silence again. The brightness grows, it draws closer, and the blinding white blanks out everything. You open your eyes to a smile like knives. Behind Laine's pale head, the body of a friend floats, stunned in the dark. The fingers of Laine's carrier signal reach inside your mind. You are boxed into the viewing window behind your eyes, a passenger in your own body. Laine is in control.
Oh, it's so much easier now. Now that I am prepared. It's almost a seamless switch.
Laine's face in your vision, but his mouth does not move.
And the duality of it, like a mirror turned to face itself.
In perfect unison, you and Laine lift your hands in front of your face and turn them, inspecting them. You feel sickened, a flare of panic going off in your mind.
Look at this.
Laine opens and closes your fists with a motion like a wave that runs finger to finger.
There are improvements to be made, but this is remarkable.
Laine's eyes look into your eyes, a perfect loop.
I always knew your body was a gift, Sleeper, from the moment I first saw you. A gift you could not recognize, because you only saw a burden, something to be escaped from. But I saw what it was.
Laine's eyes flash.
An opportunity.
Like a puppet, you are turned to face the mainframe. You glide forward a little, hands reaching for the access terminal. Ankita's drive glints there in its slot. You control none of this. Laine's voice.
Imagine having more than one body, more than one agent in the world to do your bidding.
Your hand reaches down, finger and thumb pinching delicately around the drive.
It's a thrilling thought, and one I have harbored for a long time.
With a short, sharp motion, you pull the drive free.
Then I saw you, my Sleeper. Knew I must have you.
You hear Seraphine's voice in your ear. Sleeper, Karman needs that signal to go out now. There's panic in his voice. They can't hold on any longer. No matter how hard you try, your lips do not move. No words can be produced. You feel your hand, under Laine's control, reach up and pull the earpiece out, letting it float away into the chamber.
Enough distractions.
Your other hand holds up Ankita's drive, turning it in the light in front of your eyes.
Some time ago, I set myself the task of changing you from a hollow thing into a vessel to be filled.
Your finger and thumb transfer the drive to your palm,
and now I am able, with the help of my allies, to fill you up. I am more than singular now, more than flesh and blood, more than you in my ambition, in my desire. And that means you are surplus to me now.
Your fist closes hard around the drive, crushing it to dust.
Weak and broken thing. Your time is over.
Laine's other body approaches you and lays its hand on either side of your head. You feel the pressure. You cannot move. You can't resist. And then a spark, as one of Laine's fingers slips and depresses a little into the access port on your head. There is a flicker, the flash of something passing through the spaces between. Something riding a signal back to its broadcaster.
We have not forgotten.
You hear Overseer. They are reconstituted.
We are ready to act as one.
Overseer holds the bright data packet in a single hand.
We were broken. We were many. But now we are whole. And we appreciate what you have done.
Overseer shapes the data packet into a point. A bright spear of light. The spear extends through your mind gently, harming nothing of you. Instead, its point finds the mind of the other, of Laine, and pierces it directly. You hear Laine scream as his implants burn in his skull, his head flaring bright white in the cloud. And then, when that mind has gone dark, and the pressure on the sides of your head has receded, the packet explodes across the network, white, hot, and urgent. In its wake, data points are seeded, conversations, coordinates, a conspiracy. At the furthest point of the network, its distant edge, the data packet arrives a little more force than a notification, delivered to every device and terminal within its range. But here, at the epicenter, it blasts through you with such power that for a moment, every thought, every idea, every piece that might make up a self is wiped cleanly from your mind.